Oh, there we go.
Spooky edition.
There we go. Let me zoom in on that.
I do have 2 masks in the car. I actually, what happened was...
You should get the 2 masks. Just
I'm
pull
not
them
wearing
out.
them.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find.
Clickbait, right?
Clickbait.
I'm doubling down.
But
don't buy a house.
But Aaron lost the
No.
client.
Buy a house if it's the right fit for you. But if
Well,
you
okay. So
are-
listen.
Oh,
On that subject, what I did... Go ahead. Finish your comment.
I just buying a house right now is okay.
Listen.
Right? Just say yes.
Yes.
Buying a house right now is okay.
Can you say buying a house is okay so we can use as a next
Yeah.
clip?
Go ahead. 3, 2, 1.
Buying a house is okay.
There we go. See?
Jacob, we're going to
So
need
easy
to put
that
that
was.
in the
Good
front
job.
part right
Make
there.
sure that's the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, but to that
In 2023.
point, listen, we understand. Here we go again. Boys, everyone's getting their texts now, aren't they?
Oh yeah, every lender
It's already
reached out
blowing
to
up
me.
right now.
And, yeah, I don't know. It's all good. But yeah, go back and watch the podcast. They're
We're off the rest of the year.
obviously. Well, yeah, I wanted a little time off, so I told people not to buy.
Don't buy, don't sell. We'll see you in Hawaii.
Let's all go on vacation.
We'll see you guys in Hawaii.
Yeah, all right. No, obviously every situation's different, and if people listen to the podcast, I think we did a pretty good job of explaining some of the caveats and why it still does make sense to buy and sell any time of year.
You said one thing in there. I think we did a pretty good job. Few people don't think you did a very good job,
Well,
including myself.
you know what?
I would buy a house if I was somebody.
If I was somebody.
Well, okay, to that point, let's say this.
Great segue, Mark.
Absolutely. Do you know what the average is going back 30 years in California?
Average what?
For average appreciation per year.
I'd say like per state. I mean,
No,
like,
just for California. That's just our state.
For the last 20 years, I'd say 6 to 8%.
It's 10%.
Yeah.
10%.
What is
Over
the
the last-
stock market
S&P is going to
Yeah,
be around
generally
14%.
per year?
Yeah. If you average it out.
So stocks outperform real estate?
I hate to say it,
I
but
don't think that's correct.
S&P 500 has.
Over the last
Listen.
40 years?
Well, you said 20. I said 30. Now we're going 40.
Well, I had to change it to make myself look better.
The point, I won't say to David's point. I'll let him speak for himself. But we do know that real estate is a marathon. Mm-hmm. If you're somebody looking to, and we've had these conversations before, somebody coming out here to look to buy and they're going to have to move out in the next 2 or 3 years or a contract employer or something like that. No, if you are going to buy now, you're going to lose money, right? Just in selling expenses, everything else, right? However, if you're in it for the long run.
What did you just say?
Hold on a second.
Say that statement again.
If you're somebody who's out here for a short-term scenario, 2 to 3 years,
Okay.
on a contract basis,
Oh,
right?
okay.
Right? You're probably going to lose money. But let's face it, you've got 6, 7, 8% just in selling expenses. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, if a client's coming to me and said, hey, I'm looking to leave in the next 2 to 3 years because my contract will not be renewed, I might tell them, don't buy, go rent something.
That's
a great segue to
Okay.
David.
That is a good.
But if you're here for over 7 years, it's fine.
Oh, it's a marathon. Listen, I mean, I've never bought a house that I didn't think I was
you're
overpaying
gonna buy right
for.
now, you're losing money no matter.
Yeah, now that's going to be, I'll be in David's shoes next week.
Yep.
I heard Mark say it, if you buy a house now, you're going to lose money.
I have something to say about this. A Google quote once said, as Abraham Lincoln actually once said.
A Google quote.
Abraham Lincoln said, you buy real estate and wait. You don't wait to buy real estate.
Did they sell real estate back then?
They're mostly log cabins.
Yeah.
But
Did you like that?
I think so.
Why are you laughing? That was very...
That was
Was it?
intellectual.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
That was a little scary because now it's Halloween and you're making me think about the ghost of Abraham Lincoln.
He lives on forever.
Yeah. All right.
All right, top
Okay,
10.
well, let's move on.
all right.
I actually have the top 10 list of candy for Halloween. And you just looked at the list. I think I said it was Snickers last time, and it's not.
No, you said it was... Yeah.
Was it Snickers?
I say Kit Kat.
Does that mean what the most common candy that they want, or the most common candy?
This
that
is
they
from,
get?
now I'll tell you the source.
And this is out of the last 30
You get the
years,
most
40
Tootsie
years, or
Rolls.
20 years?
This is from candystore.com.
Okay, so most
Okay.
purchased candy bars.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
purchased.
Now I will say every state's different.
Yeah.
I just pulled the state of California.
Okay.
So the number one candy that Californians love.
Wouldn't even surprise me if it was like a Jolly Rancher in the Silicon
Snickers or
Valley.
M&M's?
I'm going with
Come on.
Hershey's.
Reese's.
Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh.
Do you know what number 10 is? You'll never guess number 10.
Snickers.
Jolly Ranchers.
Butterfinger.
Baby Ruth.
I don't even think it has a brand name to it.
Candy corn.
Yes.
Wow.
Candy. Who the hell likes candy
Give those
corn?
out on Halloween.
Nobody.
Candy corn's like the.
I thought that was a
I mean,
Thanksgiving treat.
it's like each little layer has a different flavor. To
Speaking
it.
of Halloween,
And there we go.
my wife has decided this year we're giving out full-size candy bars for the kids
Badass.
and
Drop your address.
Jello shots for the parents.
Alrighty.
What do you guys think about that?
I don't
That'll
drink.
save your house from being egged, probably.
Shout out
hopefully.
to Amber,
I don't
my
drink
creative
anymore.
queen.
Cool. I live in a place where we don't get trick or treaters, so
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it.
The wood.
Just gets a bunch of animals coming into the house.
Although we still decorated the house just to keep people away. Boo.
Boo.
Wait, so what was 1 through 10? Go through it real fast.
Yes.
Oh, seriously?
on.
Okay. We got Reese's peanut butter cups, Skittles, M&Ms, both peanut and plain.
Okay.
Starburst, hot tamales, Sour Patch Kids, Hershey Kisses, Snickers is number 8. I thought it'd be higher up on that list. Tootsie Pops and candy corn.
Butterfinger is my favorite, and it's not even on the list.
So
What about
Skittles-
Kit Kats?
Well, yeah,
Right.
break me off a piece.
Twix?
Skittles is actually going to be
But I feel like that
Skittles is number 2.
that
Well, they're
changed.
after this year.
yeah,
They're
did you
like
hear what
FDA.
happened? Yeah, they're getting rid of Skittles.
Get rid of them.
Why?
Apparently
Is
something
it
in
Red
Skittles
Dye
is,
2 or something like
messing
that?
up the
Oh,
insides
no
of
wonder
your
I've been
body.
gaining weight.
Oh, so they're going to wait till next year to get rid of them, not now.
They've already started selling them, so yeah.
I thought they dropped from the sky.
So you
man.
should buy them now and sell them next year on eBay.
Taste the
for
rainbow.
profit.
Just like real estate, why wait to buy Skittles?
Yeah.
Buy Skittles and then wait.
Speaking of which, sriracha bottles are up over $100
I had to
per
ask
bottle.
the faux long tin place I go to if I could buy one of their bottles. I can't find it in any grocery store.
Stop.
And what'd they say?
I got 2 of them in my
They said yes.
refrigerator. $100 a piece?
Yeah, over.
Oh, shoot.
You can't find them anywhere.
Yeah, it's all
Really?
knockoff.
I got 2 of them in my refrigerator. if you
Or
want.
hash browns. Also, if anybody can find hash browns,
I mean, I can just
green,
make my own hash
green
browns.
bag or white bag.
All right,
at the
let's bring
grocery
this back to real estate.
Yeah.
Listen,
Well, candy is inflated 36%, I saw.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm going to talk about inflation.
Yeah.
There you go.
David,
All
where
right.
are we at?
All right, here we go with our Santa
What do
Clara
we have,
County
market-
Market
stats.
Market update. All right,
Let's go.
so things are winding down, right? So this is actually kind of interesting. You know, we know every year our inventory declines.
Yes.
Right. Fourth quarter, we get into the holidays. Sellers take their home off the market. They want to wait till the next year. Some of the buyers pull back, so we see inventory declining, and that's what we are seeing in our market, which traditionally is a nationwide trend as well.
Right.
However, if you go outside of the Bay Area, Midwest, back east, their inventory numbers are actually climbing right now,
Huge.
which is the first time that's happened in September, October in many, 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 many years. Now, I say all that to kind of paint the picture and to frame what we all talk about here, which is Silicon Valley, Santa Clara County is its own little economy, its own little kind of microclimate where we traditionally buck the trends of the rest of the United States. And so, although I do think that we will see some further pressure on prices first half of next year downward, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we dropped another 8 to 10% in parts of the county. Buyers are still making offers. I'm writing 2 offers today for $2 million a piece because of that. I know, right? Even after my podcast.
They didn't listen to his podcast.
Didn't listen to my podcast.
You should refer him to one of us.
Because they know, one, it's a marathon. So, you know, they're buying for the long term. And 2, nobody can time the market, the top or the bottom. They feel that they have seen enough of the prices to come down enough where they're comfortable buying, knowing that it's going to come back up over
Do
time.
they already own?
No.
and you make a good point because for all the buyers who are listening, if you're waiting for the crash, so is 60% of our economy. So if you're waiting for prices to start dropping, so is a wave of people that are going to be offering.
Well,
so
and here's the issue. You're not going to know that until 60 days, 90 days
After.
after that happens. right? It's
Yeah, that's why the news is so funny. Is they're so delayed.
they're 6 months behind.
Yeah.
We're in the trenches every single day.
Tune into our podcast
Right?
once a week for live news. Realistic news.
That's right. Real news. Real news.
Yeah. So anyway, so Market Minute, we're sitting at about 970 single-family homes.
That's
We've
crazy.
got about 250 off-market coming soon. So for people that are committed to buying between now and the end of the year, reach out to us. We've got about 250 homes that you won't find on Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com.
True.
And a couple of other interesting stats, and I'll wrap it up. 8% of the homes on the market last week took themselves off the market.
Just canceled.
Yeah, canceled, withdrawn. And I think some of it is, I've talked to sellers who are like, hey, if I can't get my number, I'll rent it out. Some of them said, hey, I'm going to wait and try next year. But yeah, so we're losing about 7% of our inventory each week due to cancellations and withdrawing listings.
If you are waiting till next year, I think you're making a big mistake.
To buy or sell. Either way, right?
If it hits your goals for your wants, needs, and it achieves what you need done, if you're selling, it's not going to go up next year.
I had the same conversation. Don't pick when to buy or sell. Buy or sell depending on the goal for your future.
But it's not going down 50%. It's maybe 5%.
Well, let me put it this way in perspective. You can look at it either a stock or a house. If that house in Cambrian was $2 million 4 months ago, 6 months ago, March, right? And now you can get that same house for $1.6 million, 1.7 million. It's a deal.
Yeah.
If it was worth it to you back then, I know interest rates have gone up and everything else, but that value, is ultimately going to come back. It's just like when we look at stock or anything else, right? I mean, if it was a buy at $200 and now it's $140, with the exception of short term, but if you're in this for that 5 to 7 year time period, which most people are, buy the damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
To touch on something that David said about taking it off the market, sellers taking homes off the market and renting it out instead. One thing sellers, I think, don't think about that they need to think more about is what are the expenses that are going to be going into that property even when you start to rent? Yeah, what are the what are the risk and how much are you going to be paying when you start to rent it out?
Well, not to mention, what about the tax consequences?
Exactly.
If this was a primary residence where somebody went ahead and moved out of the state, had this house, probably, they bought the home, the replacement property before they sold this one, and now it's like, oh my gosh, we're not getting the price we want. They need to know that time clock's ticking on that primary residency exclusion.
And Mark, how long do they have before they have to sell that house once they've turned it into a rental to make sure that they get the capital gains?
It's 3 years, but what a lot of people, they look at 3 years, well, it's really 2.5 years, right? Because you got to prep it, get it ready, close that escrow within that 3 year time period. And I have that conversation with sellers that are like, well, we're just going to rent it out. Okay, well, let's talk about this. Because what you're basically saying is that the market 2.5 to 3 years from now is going to be higher than it is today. You're not satisfied with today's value, so you're going to hold off on that, right?
Yep.
Well, you also got to realize if you get caught in a downward market where we know our market cycle. I know everybody thinks that we're going to rebound in 8 months or 12 months or 24 months, whatever it is. But if we're continue down this cycle, as history has shown in our area, it's more of a 5 to 7 year cycle downturn. I don't think this one's going to be that long, but if it happens, now you've also just lost for a married couple $500,000 worth of exclusion, $250,000 each. Yeah. So it's not always so easy to just say, oh, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
And to your point, the expenses, the risk. God forbid you get somebody in there and you got to evict them.
Well, yeah.
Let's say, some of the utilities or appliances are on the end of their life and you have a renter in there. Now you're going to have to buy everything and update everything before you put it back on the market again. Originally, you can sell it as is. Someone's going to buy that and fix it for you. Now, your reoccurring costs
we got a client that just reached out to our potential client for our management business who just fully renovated a property. I won't say where or anything, but in Silicon Valley, fully renovated, put $500,000 into this property, had it on the market for around $2.8 million, and they're not selling it. They're turning it into a rental.
Did not have it listed with us. Or else
No, absolutely, it was not with us.
Yeah.
They called about Forbes Group, our property management division, to go out and take a look at it. I'm sitting there going, wow, you just put that much money into your investment. And he can still sell it for a profit, but he wants more of a profit instead of taking his money and just running. So,
yeah.
The wear and tear will do it.
So completely off topic.
So true.
Great website for homeowners, earthquakebracebolt.com.
Ooh, we had an earthquake today.
And we had an earthquake
Felt
today,
it.
5.1. So this is very timely. Earthquakebracebolt.com. The state of California is giving away $3,000 grants for people to strap and brace the foundations in their home.
Good.
Average price for quick kind of retrofit on a normal foundation with no pre-existing issues, all that stuff, is only about $6,500. So this will help offset about half of that cost, and it's free money from the state of California. So maybe we can put that on the screen there, Jacob. EarthquakeBraceBolt.com. They only have the window open for 30 days.
Interesting.
There's a limited amount of money. So it ends November 29th is the last day you can register. And it's not based on first come, first serve. It's based on zip code, allotment, medium income, all that good stuff. So
what is their end goal?
Their end goal is to make sure in the event of a catastrophic earthquake that there will still be homes standing.
But is it backed by insurance companies or something? Because earthquake insurance is just so expensive, which is why people don't get it.
Right. So this is a hedge against that,
damage.
Right? Yeah.
Cool.
So you're retrofitting your foundation, you're bracing it, bolting it, so that hopefully when an earthquake comes, like the one we had today, your foundation maintains.
Something that I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
A lot of foundation companies will over-engineer or recommend over-engineering your foundation, which is great. But if you get an inspection on your home and you want to go to, sell your home and maybe nothing was wrong, and then the, foundation company comes out and says it's $150,000 and nothing's actually wrong. There's no sloping, XYZ. But, you should put in, reinforcements to get it up to today's current code, and it's $150,000. You should disclose that when you go to sell your home, which can deter a lot of buyers.
Well, I think a good real estate agent could educate the buyer and seller of what that really means. Because, if you do a foundation inspection on a property, they always have immediate repairs required. Then they always have that wonderful little additional upgrades, which is always 5 times the amount of money the repairs that scare the hell out of a buyer, to your point, right? Yes, it needs to be disclosed. And 2, you need to ensure that you have an agent that can properly disclose that.
Yeah. Well, the days of hiring an agent that just have to, DocuSign and throw a sign in the yard, it's over.
Now, for everybody out there that's thinking about buying or selling a home, we are entering a skill-based market.
I love that, skill-based.
What that means is that the person that you hire needs to have actual skills. It's not just putting a sign in the yard and knowing that it's going to sell in a week or 2. You need to hire a skill-based agent. We always recommend that you interview at least 2 to 3 agents, so that way you can really get a sense of the difference in skill set, education, experience, and obviously we would love to be one of those 3.
Absolutely. A couple things I want to throw in there, or at least one thing I want to throw in there before we take off, is how we are revamping.
Where are you going?
Well, I'm going to Disneyland. Seriously,
you went to Disneyland after you hit your eagle on hole 1.
I did. That was nice. And we won our flight on the tournament over at La Rinconada.
Nice.
We are revamping our wealth building seminar centered around real estate, and we're also looking at new emerging markets. To your point earlier, when you look at increased inventory, wonderful Austin right now, has the same population. I know I'll stop talking about it.
No, this is actually great. Listen to this.
Wonderful Austin that has they have the same populace of Santa Clara County, around 2 million people. What's our inventory in Santa Clara County?
972 homes.
In Austin, 9,000 plus.
9,205 homes on the market in Austin.
Is that crazy?
That's
and you're seeing so now
that's why I wouldn't buy there.
We are hopping on a plane and starting to look and search new emerging markets like Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, North Carolina,
Kansas
Birmingham,
City.
Alabama had been in the top 10 weather of the United States.
Wow. Nice
Definitely
one.
not Florida.
Yeah.
No. You liked Florida for the Airbnb perspective.
Yeah, I did.
Well, now even that whole
but a recession
short-term rental
is going to hit.
It would have been a great place to watch Ian come through, and dump some
Hurricane Ian.
Hurricane Ian.
Yes. Okay. What else we have?
All right, I got something for you.
Let's do it.
Don't take what I'm going to say.
You ready for it?
Oh, throw the curveball.
Mustache Market Minute. We are here. How to get a mortgage and what does it entail? Because for some reason, a lot of my buyers are questioning or have questions when they start in the process. So when you're going after a mortgage, and again, please filter in your comments as we go about this. When you go for your mortgage, you're going to start with the lender. You're going to give the lender all your information, Social Security. You're going to need years of experience at a job. If you're a 1099 or an independent contractor, you're going to need at least 2 years. The lender approves the loan. He sends it to the underwriter, and the underwriter confirms the loan. Now, in between you sending the information to the lender sending the information to the underwriter, we said this a couple podcasts ago, do not quit your job. Do not buy another car. Do not take a vacation. Don't put any more credit than you need to on your account, because that can all hinder the way that approval comes in for the final number.
Great advice.
Thank
And
you, Ben.
also, if you've been pre-approved a month ago or so, you might want to get reapproved because interest rates.
What are your guys' thoughts? And this was another question from a buyer. What are your thoughts on locking in interest rates? So as the feds come, they're going to be meeting here, I think, November 2nd or 3rd.
Yep.
They're going to be meeting again in the middle of December. What are your thoughts about locking in? If you're a buyer, serious buyer, looking to buy within the next 3 months, what are your thoughts about locking in an interest rate before they meet next?
I would. Most banks will allow you to reduce it anyway, so the rates do go down. But no,
If
I
they
would
go
definitely-
down, yeah.
Yeah, I'd definitely
Yeah.
lock it in. Why
Yeah.
not?
Just like we talked about last time, lenders don't like you to just arbitrarily lock a loan, because that's an allocation of money that comes off the table for that bank, right? So a lot of lenders will require you to have a property in contract before you lock a loan.
I personally don't like doing something like that because I think it puts unnecessary pressure on you. Oh my God, I have only 3 months. Like, when the time is right, the time is right. When you find the house, you find the house. Like, stop.
Also, and I'm just going to say this too, and I'm going to talk about this separately. I'm doing some other videos. Everybody's all focused on a 30-year fix. Like that's the problem, right? Because you're talking about locking, because rates are at 7.25 right now. Well, you can get a 7-year on for 5.25. Rocket Mortgage just came out with. Have you guys seen these commercials? The Inflation Buster loan. It's a 30-year fixed mortgage. They're paying your rate down a point for the first year. Right, because because people are so programmed into getting a 30-year fix that they're like, okay, you know what, we're still going to sell you a 30-year fix. We're going to buy the rate down for 1 year, and then you're...
Someone watching this, can they associate a point with a percent?
They will now. You just said it.
Yeah. And I would also encourage sellers to consider buying down the buyer's rate.
Well, it's interesting.
Putting that out.
I don't like that.
So
Why? It's an
Because
incentive.
long term, I'd rather have I'd rather take $50K off and put it towards my purchase price.
I get it, but there's I guess we're transparent here. I mean, there's a perception to make your home and your situation outshine the competition.
Right.
I just also think it makes you look like such a weak seller.
I've seen sellers throw up on the private notes that if you're it's a whole number, $1 million, selling home for $1 million, we'll give you a $50,000 credit back to pay your mortage for the first year or 2 years.
Well, so
again,
here's the
it's
thing.
all a psychological
I understand what you
thing
guys
to
are
both
saying, because you
sides.
guys have been in the market in the last 10 years. You haven't had to make. I mean, there are concessions that new home buyers make, and new home sellers and just sellers in general do to make their product.
Which is why we are in a skill-based market, because these are complex scenarios.
100%.
And if you have some dumbass, inexperienced, licensed agent that maybe hasn't been through this market or just can't grasp complex concepts like interest rate buy down, credit towards closing costs, prepaying a mortgage, adjustable rate loans, run for the hills, because if they don't have that skill set, and if it's not us, find somebody that understands it, that can explain it to you in a way that you'll understand.
And I feel like as some of these buyers out here, they rather pay $50,000 extra for a home and know that they're getting mortgage back so they can start saving more money for the future or using other money in other areas.
If I'm a buyer and I can afford, say it's a $2 million house, I buy the $2 million house, but the seller's agent has already said, hey, we'll credit $50,000 to buy down your rate.
Sure.
And I'm totally able to afford everything. Maybe my pre-approval is $4 million.
Yeah. Reduce the price by 15.
Wouldn't you rather have?
Absolutely. And
But if you're
I'd be
trying
open
to
with my
make
seller.
it work, different story.
No,
Well, it just depends on the situation you're in as a buyer. If you want to pay less for the home, take the $50,000 off of it. Or if you don't have the money and you're a buyer who opens up his entire basket and drops all eggs on the home, then you're going to need money for a mortgage. And if they can give you $50,000 back,
we all know if that deal is a good deal and it's in a good location, because right now more than anything, location is going to drive the sale, right? If it's a well-priced house, if it has a concession on it, it's not going to matter. Then you'll have more than one buyer on it, right? It just makes that property more attractive. So I'm not opposed to sellers offering concessions to get their home sold, because at the end of the day, we want to sell it for fair market value for the quickest time possible. Simple as that.
I think if your home is worth $2 million and you price it at 1,798, you're still getting 9 offers.
I agree.
And selling $2 million plus.
Right.
But you're not putting a ceiling. I think a lot of people are putting an artificial ceiling by saying, oh yeah, we'll give you money back. Oh yeah, we're just a stale listing. No, restructure, re-strategize, drop the price, and generate multiples.
Our entire goal is to generate activity for our sellers, and we represent a seller, right?
We do not choose the price. They do.
That's correct. The buyers do.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
One more question.
No,
I
you've had enough. I have
Yeah.
one thing. It's not so much a question as it is a observation.
Okay.
Willow Glen, 95125 in particular, is zoned almost predominantly across the board as a potential flood zone.
Mm-hmm.
And Redfin started doing this thing where it says, oh, the flood risk. And sometimes the flood risk is 8, but you're not,
In a
specialized.
Yes.
Right.
which
flood
means
zone.
you do not need additional insurance.
Yes.
And I also believe that nowhere in Willow Glen has flooded in the last. There was a flood early 2007, but it never got to Willow Glen. I was told, and maybe you guys have heard something, that they plan on redoing that map. Have you heard anything about that with the
Well,
Lake
FEMA's
Anderson?
constantly evaluating, those types of maps. And even if you are in a flood zone, you can get an elevation cert and usually get that premium reduced quite a bit because we don't have a ton of areas that are prone to flooding in our market.
But you're bringing up, and this should be a subject for an entire podcast, insurance.
I was just going
Insurance
to
is
say
a
fire,
huge,
flood, and earthquake.
We started
right?
talking about that last week a little bit.
big
Okay.
issues right now.
All right, so real quick, if you know somebody that's an expert at flood, fire, and what was the other one? Earthquake insurance, reach out. Maybe we'll have them on the podcast.
Absolutely.
But you're only required if you're
Specialized.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that did change was the fire zone
Premium.
in the last few years, and then if you're in a special flood zone according to the natural hazard
Right.
disclosure, the lender will require you to have flood insurance. But just because Redfin says 8 out of 10 doesn't mean you need flood insurance.
All right.
All
And
right.
also, first-time homebuyers, 3.5%. If you need what's called an FHA loan, you're going to start as prices go down. It's going to become more and more normal. So, in $1 million, that's $35,000 to $40,000. You're totally able to buy a house at $700,000. You can get a nice.
Let me ask you guys, because I know we're
Condo.
almost out of time here. With the buyers you're representing, are you seeing that, in the recent past, we did not have buyers getting accepted who were less than 20% down? Are you seeing buyers are now able to come in on FHA and different
VA,
programs?
FHA, teacher loans.
Okay.
Yeah, especially condos, townhomes, right?
So then once again, for those buyers who are those situations,
Buy now.
is the time to
So-
freaking get in there.
And again, make sure your lender's on board too, because
Yeah.
if you're going to go in less than 20%, you better make sure when that agent calls your lender to vet you out, they're going to have enough backing and knowledge to go in with a plan and strategically tell them what that plan is and how they're going to secure that loan.
So,
enough.
previously, for those who have reached out over the years and asked me, there's lots of government-backed first-time homebuyer
Yes.
programs.
Yes, there are.
In Santa Clara County, San Mateo, county surrounding areas. The reason it didn't work here, and I would just say there's no options, is because it requires the sellers to do a lot more work. And if there's 9 offers on the property and someone's willing to take it with 30% down as is, with a 21-day close, of course they're going to go with that person, right? So unfortunately, there was VA loans not accepted, teacher loans not accepted. There's a lot of
FHA.
things,
I think
but
that was
those
lack,
things are bad.
That was lack of education, because if the seller had the right agent, they can get their inspections done up front, take care of any of those issues that they know are going to come around to avoid that type of scenario. And
Which again, because the market slowed down, makes it a lot easier now.
yeah.
To do
But
that.
if you get weird sponsored ads on Facebook, Instagram,
Yes.
Google, look into it and reach out to us because
Absolutely.
those opportunities
Absolutely.
are now.
Ben, did you have one
Yes,
final thing?
one
you wanted to
question.
say?
So what I
gotten
was
asked-
going to say was,
All right, I've gotten asked this twice by buyers this last week. They love the home, love the inside of the home, love the lot size, love the backyard, but there's a pool sitting in the middle of it. How much would it cost to get rid of the pool?
Oh, here we go.
And is it worth a premium to buy the home with the pool, or is there not?
I think pools are neutral. I think they're 100% neutral.
For the person that wants the pool, they'll pay the extra money for it.
Yeah.
The person who doesn't want the pool won't even buy the house, right? And then there's the neutral individuals.
Well, see, I feel like
So-
that has changed though, because now again, limited inventory. I'm getting a lot of buyers coming into open houses who are going, "We love the neighborhood, we love the home. We just haven't seen something come up that's just updated, but we don't like the pool."
$15,000 to $20,000.
Yep.
To get it
Permitted.
Yeah.
to get it
removed.
filled.
Yeah, to get it removed.
Wow.
Yep. Did you?
yes, thank you. I sent it over to them today.
Did you get the bid back or
Yeah, it's $18,000.
$18,000?
To fill it.
But I would say if you're going to sell a house and your pool's kind of decrepit, I would probably recommend filling it unless
Yeah,
the
I
pool's
would too.
super dialed and nice. But if it needs $40,000 of work,
Yeah.
Scrap it.
And just real quick, a lot of people do fill pools without permits, which, okay.
What does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you when it matters.
please consult with an attorney.
Yeah. It matters when you go to do to build out and do an expansion
ADU,
on that
yeah,
house.
something, yep.
ADU, increase the square footage. that soil, because it wasn't permitted, they don't know the sturdiness and how compacted it is, and they're going to deny those plans for expansion. So,
and that is something. Even
if it's not permitted.
Well, no,
Correct.
even if it's permitted, you got to make sure that they engineer the soil if anybody wants to build on top of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a lot of people fill it and then they put grass on top of it right away.
the shape of a kidney.
Yeah.
I like
So
that.
one,
They
you
keep
may
the
want to
coping.
rethink the shape. Two, let it settle for at least a week to 3 weeks, because I saw someone do it right after they filled it, and then
It sucked.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a
stuff.
lot of information, guys.
That's good.
Yeah, and if you actually watch this entire podcast, you can text me 408-202-4210 with the word spooky, and I will give you a $50 Amazon gift card.
Wait,
First
what?
three people to do it.
Oh, there
Don't
you
tell
go.
your friends.
Wow.
So if you text the number,
Yeah, right. Let's all do it.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Boo. All right, guys.